Welcome back to LonelyMan BGs, and this video over Skytear, a card-driven miniatures game inspired by multiplayer online battle arenas. Skytear plays 2 to 8 players, where each player takes control of heroes in a team v team confrontation. In this video, we'll be taking a little more of an in-depth approach at the base starter box for Skytear, as well as some additional add-ons players can purchase, such as lore books and accessories. If you've ever played a MOBA online, you'll catch on to how this system works pretty easily. If not, I'll be here to guide you through the main ideas of how the systems work together. In Skytear, each player takes control of a group of heroes, drafting them from 4 different factions. These heroes will struggle and scheme for supremacy over the energy source, Skytear, which permeates the cosmos and allows for the development of civilizations within this universe. Since Skytear is a miniatures game, the core box is equipped with 24 miniatures, split into a few different types. First, there are 8 unique hero sculpts, which are the main actors of the game, and move around the board performing actions. There are 4 factions vying for power within this world, each with 2 heroes in the starter box, and each realm revolves around a separate element: ice, earth, air, and fire. In the first couple of games, the first player will draft 1 faction, the second player will draft the next 2, and the first player receives the final faction. Second, each faction has a group of 4 minions. Players will try to attack their opponent's minions, removing them from the game while maintaining their own forces. There are 4 unique minion builds, but each performs the same function for the faction. The final miniature included in the game is the Outsider, which is less of a mini and more of a maxi. The Outsider exists in the center of the game board, known as the Dome, where this hostile entity roams. Each player will try to gain control of this being to perform their violent biddings. Humans, man. If you're a person who likes to bling out your board games, then these little tower minis might be for you, which are optional and we'll be explaining them soon. Now, Skytear is played over a number of phases. In the hero phase, players take turns activating heroes and performing up to 3 different actions until each hero has been activated. In the minions phase, players will determine who has more presence in certain areas on the board. This decides what players will take control of the Outsider and advance upon enemy towers. Before we move on, let's get a good view of the board and the overall goals of the game. First off, the board map is double-sided. On this first side, there is a dome in the center of the play area, with lanes and towers specking the outer edges of the map. The flip side of the board is more partitioned, with 2 domed areas on either side, as well as a larger play area. This side has 3 lanes and requires 6 heroes per team instead of 4, and the only goal on this side of the map is to destroy the enemy nexus. We'll focus the rest of the video on the first map, as the core game comes with 8 heroes. At the beginning of the game, players will place their heroes around their nexus, which are basically teleporters. On either side of the nexus are towers with 5 HP, which can be replaced with 5 of the tower miniatures we saw before. Once either tower is destroyed by the opponent, the nexus gains 5 HP and becomes targetable. If a player's nexus is destroyed, that player loses the game. Now, how do towers and nexuses take damage? First, we have these little Spartan spaces, where we place these control tokens. At the beginning of the game, each control token will contain a minion both on top of and adjacent to it from both teams. During the hero phase, each player will take actions with their drafted heroes to weaken the opponent's influence over the control token. During the minion phase, players count the number of heroes and minions within line of sight of the control token. Taking that difference in value, the player with more control destroys minions and moves the command token a number of hexes towards the enemy tower. Once no enemy minions are left to destroy, damage can instead be applied to either a nearby tower or nexus. And that's the goal of the game, but it's not the only goal. 3 victory cards are randomly drawn from a deck during setup, and these give win conditions as well. Some require repeated influence over a control token, while others will have players focus on a single tower. If a player completes any one of these or destroys the opponent's nexus, that player wins the game. Now, the hero phase is where all the fun is. During setup, players flip the Skytear token, which determines who goes first, and whoever goes first also earns the Skytear Flux card to their side of the board, which grants them a mana bonus. Skytear is played over 5 rounds, and players earn a number of mana corresponding to each round, so on round 3, players will have 3 mana to spend. Each hero comes with not just a miniature, but a hero card and a hero token as well. The hero cards have 2 sides, and players will most likely use this simpler side in their first couple of games. This side says whether the hero is ranged or melee, and gives stats such as their health, attack, and armor values. Yami has 18 health, so her hero token is placed on the 18th space of the health track. The starter box comes with cardboard tokens to represent heroes' health, but they can be upgraded to these poker-style health chips. If you buy the health chip set, you'll also be receiving all the poker chips for all the add-on faction characters as well. Opposite the simplified side of the hero card, the player has access to all of the hero's effects and skills. Each faction has a specialty when it comes to these skills. For example, the Leviathan faction is able to use shape-shifting skills. Heroes will perform up to 3 different actions on their turn, then exhaust afterwards. They can either move, lead, attack, skirmish, or worship. The move action is pretty simple. Heroes can move up to 3 hexes on their turn. The other actions require us to take a look at the other big component of the game, power cards. Each player has a deck made up of power cards for the specific heroes they have on their team. Each of the cards costs a specific mana quantity, indicated by the number of runes in the corner of the card. Heroes must have the matching rune colors in order to play those cards. For example, Combustion costs 2 mana, so it will have to be played on round 2 or higher unless the first player uses the Skytear Flux card to reduce its cost. Each card is also either an action, meaning it activates on a hero's turn, or a reaction, meaning they are played at other times, such as when preventing an enemy from targeting you. The first player starts with a hand of 6 power cards, while the second begins with 5. Cards can be expensive or cheap. They can cause heroes to regain health or do major damage, and they can even offer buffs and other actions players perform. For example, the next action is Attack, where the hero performs the damage shown on their card, and in addition, they draw a card as denoted. In the top right corner of each power card is a value, which is applied as a modifier whenever the card draw icon is shown. This happens in various actions, in attacking, in skirmishing, and even in the hero's specific skills. The attack action rids the board of the opponent's minions and reduces the health of enemy heroes. The fourth action is leading, in which the player takes a card from their hand or from their deck, then places that card underneath the active hero. Lead cards are revealed during the minion phase, and the mana value shown modifies that hero's control value in that region of the board. The final action is the worship action, which allows the heroes to activate their skills, like Sakoshi's explosive shuriken. Before we end the video, let's take a quick look at this lore book, Heroes of the New Hope. This book delves into the history about the land of Ola Ta, the energy source known as Skytear, and much more. It gives details about each of the 4 realms and behind-the-scenes information about some of the characters that players will be using. If you're into the lore behind the game, it might be worth checking out. On that note, we've reached the end to our video, which I hope you found helpful in learning how the game works. To learn more about the world of Skytear, check out the links in the description. Thanks for watching.